estate group show with local realtor superstar Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. How are you doing, Michele?
Superstar DJ Curtis Pope. I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
There is only room for one superstar on this program, Michele, and it's you.
Oh, no. I think, C for Curtis goes before M for Michele.
Oh, yeah, but you get top billing anyway. It's just easier that way. Because you see, Cummins comes before Pope, so you see we can just flip things around.
I think it's because Cummins is such a strong name, like the diesel engine.
Exactly. Exactly. So here we are. It's another Saturday morning. I know we have some guests to get to, so we're probably going to have to get right at it and not do our usual, go off on a random subject topic thing. But I did know what we were looking to talk a little bit about the new stress test that's coming out in a few days.
Yes, I can't believe June 1st is around the corner. And, we had mentioned it on the show when it was first announced that they were going to the question and answer period in May regarding this new stress test rules that were going to change in June. And we all thought it was only for uninsured mortgages because that's the announcement was based on that. But it ends up being that, no, everyone, all borrowers are going to be affected by the new mortgage stress test rules that actually are in play as of June 1st. So wanted to remind everyone, if you were a buyer looking and if you're on the edge, you want to get into a contract before June 1st, if you possibly can, and actually apply, send that contract to your mortgage provider so they can apply for the mortgage before June 1st, because it is going to affect everyone. So the greater of the mortgage contract plus 2%. Or, just to give you an idea, 5.2% is what you're going to have to be approved on. And that is very different than what it's been. It didn't take long for the Department of Finance to follow suit with the announcement, and that's why they have confirmed that the same higher rate will apply to those insured mortgages as well. So we knew it wasn't exactly final, but we do know when they do these announcements, they usually definitely follow through with them. We just don't know all the facts, but now we do. So all borrowers, regardless of down payment, have to qualify at 5.2%, even though they're borrowing money at, let's say, 1.4 or 5% to somewhere like 2.25%. Doesn't matter. You've got to be able to handle that 5.25% rate. And that really, there's very little wiggle room for those that, are only doing, or I should say 5 to 19% is a lot nowadays, especially with Fraser Valley real estate prices. But if that's what you have to put down, it really wedges the line between your must-haves and your have-nots. So just wanted to make sure everyone's prepared. So in the meantime, if you plan to buy before June 1st, you should apply for that mortgage too. Even if you have a pre-approval, make sure you apply and get that contract in. So with that, we should jump right into our guest, because we had Marilyn Lee on our show a couple years ago, and she is back with some great information for everyone, and this is so timely. She reached out to me a couple weeks ago when my dad had gone into emergency, and they were saying they want him to go into a care home, and he's like, no, I want to be home. And so it was just perfect. And so I'm so happy to have Marilyn Lee on. She's Client Service Manager for Graystone Bath and Home Services. And with Marilyn, we have Tanya Fawekes, who is Regional Director of the Canadian Association for the Occupational Therapists in the BC chapter. So welcome, Marilyn and Tanya.
Thank you for having us. Hello.
Well, it's always good to have some more guests on here because people don't want to listen to me and Michele all the time. They want a little variety.
That's right.
All right, we'll get right to it. So Marilyn, I was going to ask you to tell us a bit about Graystone Bath and Home Services.
Well, Graystone is locally owned family business, and it's been around for about 25 years. Graystone actually specializes in aging-in-place bathrooms, remodeling them. We work closely with retail and also with clients who are involved with the government-sponsored programs. Graystone actually is a very proud facilitator for the new RAHA program. It's funny to say that, RAHA, but that's called the BC Housing Rebate Accessible Home Adaptation Program. And it takes the place of the HAPPY program that was suspended in March of 2019. So the focus is, what our focus is to find solutions to remove barriers that will help the client feel safer and actually be able to access their bathroom safer and to feel more comfortable in their bathroom.
Okay, so when we say barriers, like what kind of barriers are we talking about?
Well, for instance, most clients over the years, they like a nice warm bath. You know, they have their candles and their soap and their whatever, and they get used to it. However, as we age, our bodies don't do like it used to. Some people can't get in and out of that bathtub. So by removing the bathtub, which has a higher lift, and installing walk-in showers with safety bars, slip-resistant flooring, it makes it much safer for them. So that's one of the barriers.
So, Marilyn, I was wondering, and I'm sure all of our listeners are, what sort of aging in place adaptations do you provide?
Oh, there's so many things. For instance, the walk-in showers for easier access. We put in comfort height toilets, so it makes easier raising and lowering. There's also, it's hard to explain what it is. It's a bar that goes around the toilet. It's almost like the toilet becomes the seat, and the apparatus that goes around it makes it easier for the client to get off the toilet. So putting in a higher toilet is a lot easier. And for the flooring, many times the flooring is so slippery, especially with ceramic tiles. Anyone that has difficulty mobile, they slip and fall, so we put in the slip-resistant flooring. Safety bars, of course, are very important. Putting in glides in the cupboards so that there's no longer have to bend over as much as they do. They can actually open the drawer with their toe if they had to. So, yeah, unnecessary bending.
Okay, that's great. Now, what areas does Graystone serve?
Oh, pretty well all Fraser Valley and the surrounding areas.
That is amazing, because we have listeners not only in the Fraser Valley but other areas as well, and this is a great program that most people don't know about. At least I know people that don't know about this program. So does Graystone offer warranty on its products?
They do. They offer on materials that is installed by Graystone. We offer a lifetime warranty on the labor and a year's warranty on the materials. But I'm going to go back to the RAHA program. It does go all over BC.
Okay, so yeah, you mentioned you facilitate the work then in New BC housing, the RAHA program. Love the name. Okay, so listeners don't know, as I mentioned, maybe you can explain more about exactly about this program.
About the RAHA program. Okay.
Yeah,
so like I was saying, in March of 2019, the program closed down, and we didn't even know if there was going to be another program. This year, in March, this new program started. It's called the RAHA program. I love saying that, the RAHA. And it's helping a lot more people because they changed the household income, where it used to be almost $32,000 to $34,000. Most people made a little bit more than that, so they would be over, even by $50. Where with the RAHA program, the qualifications have changed, so now it's $117,000 household income. The rebates are higher; it's $17,500 instead of $15,000, and it's for seniors and those with diminished disabilities or those that are disabled. So it's giving them more independence in their home, and it's a more simple and easier program to get into.
So what are some of the pitfalls that you've come into with the clients that may prevent them from getting into this program?
Oh, one of the biggest things is many years ago, people didn't know, but they had their relative or child or children put on title. And doing that, of course, legally, that house belongs to that relative or child, whoever's name's on the property. So with this program, all people, owners, or homeowners, household members, have to submit their documentation. Well, now you're talking, let's say, to an 80-year-old who's had their child on their title for 20 years and never even thought about it. And now they have to go to their child or relative and say, I need your documentation too because you're a homeowner. And it's upsetting for them. A lot of clients are going, I don't want to ask my kids to do that. It's none of their business what my income is or what their income is. And, you know, it goes back and forth like that. So that's really a hard thing. And some of them have checked into having the name removed off title. Well, the cost is $600 to $800, and they can't afford it. So it's like that catch-22. What do they do? At one time, the government did accept a letter stating for estate planning purposes only. And that worked out because there was no financial from the kids or the relative that was on title. They didn't contribute in any way. But now it's the law. That's the homeowner. So we're sort of, like I said, the catch-22. You know, what do you do? What do you do?
Exactly. Wow, it makes it really tough. And so thank you for bringing this to us and our listeners. I want to ask Tanya Fawekes some questions, but I think we have to go on break right now. So maybe when we get back, we can ask Tanya some questions.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break and we'll come right back. So, Michele, if people want more information about you and what you do as a realtor, where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
We're back with more right after this. Group show with local realtor, superstar, actress, singer, songwriter, and sometime cat mom too. I don't know, Michele Cummins, and myself, Curtis Pope. Was that a good intro? Do you like that?
I love it. And a little sprinkling of real estate in there.
Yeah, that's in there too. You got so much on the go, I can't keep track of it all.
You know, life is short, so might as well make it full, right? And do everything that you love to do.
Exactly. So now I figure it's time for you to give another one of those world-famous Michele Cummins introductions.
Okay, so we just were chatting with Marilyn Lees, who is the client service manager for Graystone Bath and Home Services. And now we have some questions for Tanya Fawekes, who is the regional director of the Canadian Association for Occupational Therapists and the BC chapter. So, Tanya, thank you for being on our show. And I wanted to ask you a few questions to follow up with Marilyn.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And this is important because I know with my dad, the hospital, they were saying that they're going to send an occupational therapist to his home because he's in Oregon, to his home a couple times a week. So what does an occupational therapist do?
Good question. And I actually love your segue with the life is short, so you got to do the things that you love to do. Because that is really the soul of an occupational therapist, for sure. So we're occupational therapists are regulated health professionals that work primarily in the rehabilitation part of the world of healthcare. And more we're getting into more primary care kind of healthcare positions. But typically what our role in healthcare is to help people either continue to do or get back to doing those activities that really matter to them in their daily life. And it's anything across self-care, leisure, productivity, so everything from, like Marilyn talked about, using the toilet without falling off of it, all the way through to going to work and raising your kids and being a cat mom, all the things that matter to the client are what really matter to us, and to help people be able to keep doing those things that they love to do.
And there's so many little things we don't think about and that we take for granted, and we just don't know until you all of a sudden you can't bend down and you can't walk on your own, or these things. And there's so many things. So what reasons would a person need an occupational therapy home modifications assessment?
So this area of occupational therapy practice is also near and dear to my heart because it's my personal private practice area as well. And so I think that we fit in this area particularly well because of that client-centered piece and seeing the value that people have on all those, in quotation marks, little activities of their daily life, that it does really matter how you're able to use your home and move around your home, and you don't want barriers within your home to be preventing you from being able to do the things that you really enjoy or need to be able to do. So an occupational therapy assessment in that home modification or renovation realm really brings that medical eye in to understand, first of all, what's going on with the person. So someone like your dad, obviously making some assumptions that he's having a hard time with some of his health. And so the occupational therapist is trained to be able to understand what all those health problems are and how they may play out, and then figure out how can we make the environment of the home work better for the person as they are, be able to keep doing what they need to do in their home. So, make sure that dad can still get himself his coffee in the morning, or use the bathtub when he needs to, or use the toilet when he needs to, all the way through to someone, new in a wheelchair, let's say, and they need the whole redo to help figure out how can they still carry on their life and the activities that they value as best as they could before and whatever happened.
So then how do occupational therapists work with the RAHA program, which is kind of fun to say? How does it work with the RAHA program applicants?
It's true. RAHA is kind of fun. Way more fun than happy, I think.
I think Lady Gaga had something to do with the name. I don't know.
Probably, yeah. And I'm sure, the ministry and BC Housing would be thrilled to know that they're like Lady Gaga. This one actually is really exciting from an OT perspective because we've really kind of we get to work with clients that are in that area where they're vulnerable. They're having a difficulty either because of their aging or illness or some other disability that makes it hard for them to do what they need to do in their home. But these people typically couldn't afford to access an occupational therapist previous to this program. And so now BC Housing covers funding for certain renovations within the RAHA program need an occupational therapist assessment to determine exactly what they need done. So we work with the contractors to basically be able to say this is exactly what needs to get done for this person to make them able to keep doing, typically in this program it's bathroom or kitchen related things. And then let the contractor know that work that needs to be done, and obviously let the government and the RAHA program know that these modifications are needed for justifiable disability-related reasons to really help the person be able to stay where they want to live. So we get involved to do that piece of the paperwork and assessment that the RAHA program is asking for. And the people get refunded by the RAHA program for the OT time to do the assessment.
That's what the difference is from the Happy program. We didn't have that. So this is great because I think a lot more people having a physical or occupational therapist come in are going to benefit a lot more than they did with the Happy program.
That makes sense because I was wondering how an occupational therapist coming in to help with the renovations, like what the benefits of that, and it makes perfect sense. You would know what needs to be done in the renovations to support and help the health and quality of life of that person.
Yeah. For sure. And in this particular, helping with renovations in general, not just in the RAHA program, but being able to be in that home modification realm, we all typically work also with other contractors and real estate and architects, and you have connections in interior designers. So having that whole team take a look at these kinds of problems really helps make sure that all the angles are being addressed for the people that are needing the help.
Well, that's a good one. Now, if the people have their own contractors or people they know, will the program cover the cost, or do they have their own people or contractors that they want to do the work? Does that make sense, the question?
Yeah, it can be anybody. So yeah, if people have their own contractors, if people have their own occupational therapists, all of that is free for the client's choice.
Like the occupational therapist or physical therapist works independently. They're not they don't work for the contractor.
Yeah, okay. And so the contractor, who does the people pay for it and then supply the invoices to the program and then they get a rebate? Or how does the rebate work?
Well, for our company, Graystone, we finance the project. No money comes out of the client's pocket. Once the work is complete, closeout papers go back into the government, and in turn, the client will receive a check for the full amount of the invoice that was submitted by the contractor. In some cases, like we go over what they call a checklist. So the client, let's say the client wants to walk-in walk-in shower. They want the slip-resistant flooring, and they have this wish list. The physical therapist goes in and says, occupational therapist or occupational, sorry. Either or. And so the occupational therapist goes in and says, no, you don't need the walk-in shower. You can access your bathtub very well. So that changes the invoice. We only invoice what the work is being done. And there is a list provided by the RAHA program showing the amount of money that can be charged for each adaptation. But let's say Tanya goes in, she finds that this woman needs a lot more than what's on this, what they call the maximum rebate schedule, and she said, no, they need something more. Then we have to submit another invoice because it has to be approved. And Tanya would write up something about that. Why does this person need that extra something that's not, like for instance, lighting. If a person is legally blind, they may need proper lighting. Well, that's not on the list with BC Housing. So Tanya would go and say, this person needs proper lighting in their home. And so she would let us know, and if she was contacting us, and we would put an invoice in for it. Does that make a whole lot of sense?
Yeah. Okay, Marilyn, then a person listening to this program today, how could they learn more about Graystone Bath and Home Services?
Well, for Graystone, they can contact me if they like, and that's Marilyn, Marilyn, at graystonebath.ca, and it's gray with an E, not an A. I'm pleased to answer any of their questions that they have, or they can call me at 604-309-1643. They could text me as well. If they want to know more about the program, they can just search BC Housing RAHA, RAHA program, or call the BC RAHA program itself at 604-433-2218.
Thank you so much for being on our show, Marilyn and Tanya. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you. And I will say, if people are looking to try to find an occupational therapist to help them with this, they can contact CAOT-BC at caotbc@caot.ca, or just call me directly, and I'm happy to point them in the direction at 1-800-434-2268, and I'm at extension 265.
Thank you so much. And it kind of leads us with the quote of the week. We do a quote every week, and this week is from Audrey Hepburn, and it's "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible." See that? Impossible, I'm possible. So we can all help ourselves and each other, and nothing's impossible. And this is a great program to keep you in your home longer and safer. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Michele, if people want more information about the services you provide as a top-notch realtor, where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And once again, make plans to join us again next week when we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.